The entire entertainment world froze the moment the headline appeared, "Can Yaman caught in secret messages with a mystery woman." It started as a whisper on a gossip page, then spread like wildfire across every corner of the internet. Within hours, screenshots, voice messages, and even blurry photos filled social media. Fans didn't know what to believe. Some defended him instantly, others hesitated. For a moment, silence surrounded the actor, and that silence became fuel for the rumor. At that exact time, Ken was in Rome, wrapping up an intense day on set. He was tired, focused, and unaware that a digital storm was building behind him. His phone began to vibrate non-stop, first one message, then 10, then hundreds. His assistant rushed in with a worried expression, whispering, "Can, you need to see this." When he finally looked, his heart sank. His name was trending worldwide for the worst possible reason. The so-called mystery woman claimed she and Ken had exchanged private messages, that he had promised to meet her in Milan, and that there were conversations too personal to share. But the screenshots were blurred, inconsistent, and suspiciously edited. Even so, tabloids didn't care. They had their story, and they ran with it. Meanwhile, Ken stayed silent. He didn't call anyone, didn't post anything. He just sat quietly in his dressing room, staring at the screen. His team begged him to respond, but he only said, "No. Not yet." Because Ken knew the world didn't care about the truth, it cared about drama. But he also knew that when he finally spoke, every word would matter. That night, Rome's city lights reflected on the window of his apartment as he sat alone, scrolling through hundreds of comments. Some accused him, others begged him to clarify. But the words that hurt most were from those who once admired him, now questioning his character. He whispered to himself, "You don't even know me," and that was when he realized, it wasn't just a rumor. It was a war on his name. By the next morning, the situation had exploded beyond control. Major newspapers from Italy, Spain, and even the United Kingdom splashed the story across their front pages. Talk shows debated whether the screenshots were real. Hashtags trended on Twitter, and gossip blogs twisted the narrative with every new post. Paparazzi camped outside his building, hoping to catch a reaction. Every car that stopped near his apartment triggered a frenzy of flashing lights. But Ken didn't step outside. Inside his home, he paced the floor, phone in hand, reading the latest accusations. One headline read, "Yaman's secret affair, hidden chats exposed." He slammed the phone down in frustration. "They'll believe anything," he muttered. Even his friends began receiving calls from reporters. One of them, an old co-star, later said, he was furious but calm at the same time. You could see he was burning inside. And he was. Because for years, he had worked hard to build an image of discipline, respect, and professionalism. He had stayed out of scandals. But now, one lie threatened to erase it all. That evening, he met with his manager. "Should we respond?" his manager asked carefully. Ken stared at him, silent for a few seconds, then said in a low voice, "Tomorrow morning." Enough is enough. At that moment, the decision was made. After days of chaos, Can Yaman was finally going to speak, not through an agent, not through a PR statement, but in his own voice, directly to the world. The next morning, social media went completely silent for a few seconds. Can Yaman had finally posted a black and white photo of himself, no smile, no makeup, just a raw portrait. And beneath it, just a few lines, "I don't even know the woman. No conversation ever happened. Stop spreading lies." Those 14 words sent shockwaves across the internet. The post gained hundreds of thousands of likes in minutes. Fans flooded the comments with hearts and messages of support, while others demanded proof. News outlets picked it up instantly. Yaman breaks his silence. In that moment, the mysterious woman disappeared from all platforms. Her social media accounts were deleted. Her so-called proof vanished. People began to question everything. Some wondered if she had fabricated the entire story to gain attention. Others realized they had been manipulated. Inside his apartment, Ken read the reactions quietly. He wasn't celebrating. He wasn't relieved. He was simply tired. To him, the statement wasn't an act of defense, it was closure. He had said his truth. Now, the world could do what it wanted. But one thing was certain, his silence was over, and his words were louder than ever. Behind his calm public reaction, the emotional cost was heavy. Can barely slept. Even though his team assured him the damage would fade, he couldn't stop thinking about how easily people believed lies. At night, he replayed every detail in his head, how the story began, who spread it, and why. He remembered his early days, struggling to prove himself in the industry. He had promised never to get lost in gossip, to stay grounded. Yet here he was, dragged into a storm he didn't create. "They think they know me because they've seen my face on screen," he said one night to a close friend, "but they know nothing about my heart." For a few weeks, he avoided public events. He refused interviews and focused on his craft. Acting became his therapy. Every scene, every emotion, every line became a way to release the tension building inside him. His co-stars noticed the intensity in his performances. It was raw, emotional, and real. Meanwhile, fans around the world began piecing together the truth. They found inconsistencies in the woman's posts, proving her claims were impossible. Slowly, the narrative began to shift. But Can wasn't looking for revenge. All he wanted was peace. Something rare for a man who lived under constant spotlight. As he told his assistant one morning, "I'm not fighting her. I'm fighting the noise." As the storm began to quiet down, something unexpected happened. Can's fans took control of the narrative. Thousands of supporters across the world joined forces, determined to defend him. They began digging deeper into every so-called screenshot, comparing fonts, timestamps, and even metadata. Within hours, it became clear that most of the images had been edited, poorly edited. One digital expert even posted a thread proving that the woman's proof was fake. The hashtag #WeBelieveCan Can Yaman spread like fire. Fans from Turkey, Italy, Germany, and Brazil united, creating short clips, emotional montages, and supportive messages. It wasn't just about defending a celebrity anymore, it was about defending truth in a world full of lies. Can saw everything, though he never commented. Late one night, while scrolling through the countless posts, he stopped at one fan's message, "You don't need to explain anything. Real ones know the truth." He smiled for the first time in weeks. But not everyone celebrated his silence. Some journalists accused him of playing the victim. Others demanded transparency. It was absurd. A man accused without evidence now had to prove his innocence to people who didn't even know him. But Can didn't fall into their trap. He told his PR team, "If I talk again, it will be for something meaningful, not for noise." That statement leaked to the media, and it went viral. His words were powerful, calm, and deeply human. They painted a portrait of a man who refused to be broken by gossip. And suddenly, the public opinion began to change. Even major TV outlets started correcting their reports. Some apologized for rushing the story. The woman's credibility vanished completely, her silence became her confession. And once again, the world remembered why Can Yaman wasn't just another actor, he was a symbol of resilience. It didn't take long before the mysterious woman's identity was revealed. Journalists discovered she wasn't who she pretended to be. Her photos were old, her stories inconsistent, and her sources didn't exist. One outlet even found that she had a history of fabricating stories about other public figures. When the truth came out, people were furious, not at Can, but at her. She vanished from social media overnight, deleting everything. But the damage she had tried to cause had already backfired. For Can, it was bittersweet. He didn't feel joy or victory. As he told a friend, winning against a lie doesn't feel like winning, it just feels like breathing again. He knew scandals like this could destroy careers. He had seen others crumble under pressure, but this time, he had something stronger than publicity, he had self-control. His family, who had been quietly suffering through the ordeal, finally felt relieved. His mother reportedly said, "He was raised to face life with strength. That's my son." Those words touched fans deeply, circulating widely on fan pages. But even after the truth was out, Can didn't rush to celebrate. He stayed quiet, stayed focused. The only thing he shared publicly was a photo from a sunset walk, captioned, "When the noise fades, the heart can finally hear itself again." That one line summed up everything. The story that was meant to humiliate him had become a lesson in patience, and a message of peace to anyone who had ever been misjudged. Weeks later, the chaos had finally settled. The paparazzi were gone, the headlines replaced with new scandals about other celebrities. But for Can, the experience left a mark. He realized how fragile trust was, how quickly admiration could turn into doubt. He started setting boundaries, protecting his personal life more fiercely than ever. No more random photos with strangers, no more spontaneous fan meetups. Every detail of his day became private. "It's not arrogance," he told his director one evening, "it's survival." At work, he threw himself into his projects with renewed intensity. Every scene, every emotion, was deeper, more honest. His co-stars said they had never seen him so focused. It was as if the pain had transformed into art. In interviews that followed, reporters tried to bring up the scandal again, hoping for a reaction. But he refused to take the bait. Instead, he said calmly, "I've already spoken. There's nothing more to say." That composure fascinated the public. The same people who once doubted him were now admiring his dignity. Behind closed doors, he finally began to heal. He spent time alone, reading, training, walking by the sea. The rumors had faded, but they had taught him something invaluable: that peace is louder than any explanation. Months later, during a live interview for a European magazine, the host asked him one last time about the incident. The studio fell silent. The question everyone avoided had finally been spoken aloud. Can smiled faintly, leaned forward, and said quietly, "People can say whatever they want. I sleep well because I know who I am." The audience erupted in applause. That single line became the quote of the year, printed on magazines, shared endlessly online, turned into memes and wallpapers. But more than that, it became a statement of strength. After the interview, the journalist admitted, when he spoke, you could feel that he had already made peace with it all. It was over, truly over. And it was. The world had moved on, but Can Yaman had grown stronger, calmer, and more untouchable than ever before. From that day on, whenever his name trended online, it wasn't about scandal, it was about success, discipline, and authenticity. The same man they once doubted had become an example of integrity. And maybe that's the real story here. In a world obsessed with noise, lies, and headlines, Can Yaman proved that silence, when it's the truth, can be the loudest voice of all.